Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1749. Today we are going very fast with a three-time NHRA Top Fuel World Champion. Hold on.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Avon, Indiana with a guy who likes to go and knows how to go very, very fast by the name of Larry Dixon. Larry, welcome to Cars Yeah. Are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I am. I think so. I got my Hans device on and everything.
Well, listen, for a guy who's gone faster than I probably have in a jet airplane, I don't need to ask you if you're buckled up and ready for a fun ride, but it's really an honor to have you here. Now, before I give you a proper introduction, as if you need one, I want you to share one little thing with me that most people don't know about you, which may be a little hard because you're a public figure. You've been out there for so long.
Oh, gosh. Probably the amount of time that I spent on the road, just the opposite. I like being able to spend time at home just to be able to catch my breath. So if anything, maybe that.
Just being at home. Well, boy, last year and continuing into this year has kept all of us at home. So I guess you got your wish, but it's a bad way to get a wish put together. But I've heard this from a lot of guests that being at home has given them a new perspective on life. And for a guy who spent so many years on the road, maybe you can share real quickly before I give you a proper introduction here. How has being at home and somewhat being locked down with COVID given you a different perspective on what life could be like?
Well, I think the first couple of months was, and I'm in Indiana, so obviously every state has got different protocols on how we lock down and handle this pandemic. But ours, our state of Indiana was locked down pretty good for the first couple of months last year.
Yeah.
And so that part of it actually was nice from the standpoint of gathering the family, actually having dinners, playing Uno after dinner at the dinner table. Some of that stuff that just didn't take place if we weren't forced to be at home. And I'm going to say towards the end of May, our state opened up, and restaurants and even movie theaters just opened up in the last month or so. Basketball, you go to Pacer basketball games now, and just about Supercross is even going tonight, and it's open to the public. So
wow.
Our state's probably a little bit, open probably because of the population. Like, obviously there's a lot more people on the West Coast than in the Midwest here. And so our state's kind of calm and we're getting to enjoy things. Got to wear a mask everywhere, but beyond that, it's business as usual now.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. And what a nice treat. The silver lining of this COVID is spending time at home with kids and family. Yep. And if you can, have some other extended family in the home that's safe, is certainly worthwhile. That's great to hear. Well, let me give you a proper introduction, and we're going to dive into what you're doing these days. Larry Dixon is a legend in the sport of drag racing and a three-time NHRA Camping World Series Top Fuel Champion. He earned those accolades in 2002, 2003, and 2010. The second generation Top Fuel racer is the second winningest Top Fuel driver in NHRA history with 62. That's right, I said 62 wins. Larry started as a mechanic for Larry Minor and that guy named Don the Snake Prudhomme. He used to build models of his cars back when I was a kid, before beginning his Top Fuel driving racing career back in 1995 when he started driving for Don Prudhomme. He was named a Rookie of the Year that year and captured his first of 4 U.S. national titles. In 2020, Larry was nominated to the Motorsport Hall of Fame of America. Congratulations. Larry is now a brand ambassador for Stand 21 Raceway North America, coordinating with the drag racing community in the company's impressive 50-year history safety of products. We'll be back in just a moment to talk more with Larry, but first, a word from our sponsors. So keep the seatbelts on, keep your earplugs in. It could get loud today. We'll be right back. Our pets are part of the family, but they can be very hard on your vehicle's interiors. Do you have a pet in your household that loves to go for rides? Covercraft offers a wide variety of solutions to protect your vehicle's interior from Fido's rough treatment. Canine cargo area covers are padded for comfort and provide door-to-door protection. Pet pads have built-in features and keep cargo areas and your seats protected. Covercraft's quality pet solutions cover cargo areas, bucket, or bench seats, and protect from damaging claws, pet fur and hair, mud, moisture, and drool from permanently damaging your vehicle's interior surfaces. Choose from a variety of styles and covers for almost every vehicle made. And I've got a deal for you. Cars Yeah! listeners are going to get 10% off if you use the code YEAH21, that's YEAH21. Simply use the code YEAH21 at checkout at covercraft.com. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. American Collectors Insurance, that's how I now protect my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush. Are you insuring your classic vehicles on your regular daily driver auto policy? Then your special vehicles are at risk. Your regular auto insurance carrier won't tell you how much you'll get until after a claim, and more than likely, you'll be in for a rude awakening. With agreed value policy from American Collectors Insurance, you'll be paid your vehicle's full agreed value. No surprises. If you're driving your collector car less than 5,000 miles a year, do what I did. Call American Collectors Insurance and get your very own agreed value policy tailored to your specific vehicle. If you're like me, you're picky about who works on your special ride. A great policy allows you to choose your repair shop of choice, and that means you'll know the job is done right. I shopped around and decided to protect my car with American Collectors Insurance. They've been protecting vehicles since 1976. Give them a call for a quote today at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love. I did at American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. All right, Larry, we are back. And as we continue on what I'm going to call a bit of a journey of your life and catching up with what you're doing these days, is there a success quote or a mantra, some kind of saying that's taken you through your career that serves you well? I like to say it's a nice way to get the inspirational tires smoking, and you know about smoking tires. So Larry, take the wheel.
It's not an original line, but it was a line I think Roger Penske's used with all his racing teams and probably all of his businesses. But effort equals results.
Yes,
I love that. You know, right down to like you go to an event somewhere with and you look at the Penske operation. You could be over at hospitality, and they have the pit scooters all lined up with all the handlebars turned in the same direction, all uniform in a row.
Yeah. And
it's like, it's just the scooters, but it's like if they spend that much time and effort away from the cars, can you imagine how the cars are? And it's really just about putting in the effort. And if you keep putting in effort, you absolutely will get the results.
Well, I love that quote too. And Roger and his business and what he's done in every respect, I hold in awe. And let's dive into how that efforts equal results carried so well for you in your career, because obviously you must have followed that format because you have a career path that is over the top. I want you to take us on kind of a quick walk through your life. It could take hours to get through what you've done, but I mean, it's amazing. But I kind of want to start at the beginning and the fact that you worked for Don Prudhomme. And I mentioned I used to build models of the Snake funny cars when I was a kid. I mean, I still remember that. And Alana Scher just wrote a great book about Don that just came out. She was a guest a couple months ago. So kind of walk us through that beginning and what got you into drag racing. I know your dad had a big influence on that in your life. And then we're going to move forward into what you're doing today. And I want to talk a little bit more about Stand 21 because Yves Marzeau, who's been a guest here on the show, who started that fabulous company, is so keen on keeping racers and people safe. I've worn his suits when I race vintage cars. So let's go back to the beginning here, Larry. Drag racing. Holy cow.
Yeah, really, I don't know. I honestly can't remember a year of my life without having drag racing in it as far back as I can remember. My dad raced top fuel cars in the 60s and 70s. And like I said, ever since I can remember, we'd just go to the track. And, you know, there's days I can remember my mom picking me up from school and we're heading to the local nitro meet going on. And I grew up in Southern California, and they had a lot of racetracks back in the the early 70s, with a Lions drag strip in an Orange County and Irwindale and such. And it seemed like, if we weren't racing every weekend, it was every other weekend. I mean, a road trip would be to Northern California or something, to Fremont or Sacramento or Sears Point, something like that. So really, that's where I got the bug from. And it's just, no different than a Al Unser Jr. or a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Mine's, really the same thing, growing up at the track and wanting to grow up and be like my dad. And so, as I got older and graduated out of high school and I was able to, get some, a job working on the pit crew of a few different teams like Larry Miners and such. And then, ended up at Snakes, working on his funny car. And that was, never been around funny cars before his. And that was a blast. And it really gave me a newfound love for the funny cars. And, and then he switched over to dragsters and stayed there. And he did that for about 4 or 5 years before he retired. Licensed in his car. Not that I just jumped in a Top Fuel car. I did a little bit of alcohol dragster racing on the side away from crewing and really learned how to drive a car, 200 plus miles an hour and stuff. And then the opportunity came about to license in his car, licensed and went well, and took that to Miller Brewing Company. And we had a relationship with, Miller Beer for a dozen years. So that's really kind of how I got the start and got you kind of fairly caught up.
Yeah, to what you're doing. I have a lot of people on this show who are business related. We talk about business entrepreneurship and the importance of mentors and working around people that help guide you. I would assume working around Snake and Miner and these guys, what a way to teach you the business, along with your father.
Absolutely. I went through a Dale Carnegie course very early on in my life, and they used Lee Iacocca as a great example of him being able to turn around the Chrysler brand. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because he knew how to build a car better than anybody else in the business. It was he knew to hire very talented people and bring them in and help the cause. And you don't necessarily need to take all the credit as long as the success, you end up at the finish line, the winner. And so for me, it was, I've had my mouth shut and as much as I can and my eyes and ears open. And guys like my dad, for starters, drawing the love for the sport, but obviously, working around a guy like Don Perdome for 20 years, you're going to pick up a ton. Bernie Federley, that was a crew chief at Larry Minor, showed me how to build short blocks and degree cams. And I mean, and Dick LaHaye and just learning how to race and to be able to win championships. And it just, you're picking up pieces from everywhere you go. And it's like, if you, somebody said that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you could.
You took the words right out of my mouth here, because 2 eyes and 2 ears, use them twice as much as you use your mouth and you'll do a lot better. Yeah. Nice job.
And be humble enough to know you don't have all the answers and to be looking at other people. And that's what I've tried to do. And I've had a lot of people that I've looked up to and, throughout my life, and it really hasn't changed. I mean, I still in the same way. I mean, I don't know how you grow or progress if you're not constantly evolving and learning. And I certainly don't have all the answers. So it's like you have your circle of people that you talk to and help you along. And so far it's worked for the last 54 years.
Yeah, I think so. Just a little bit. Listeners, this is a golden nugget here that Larry's dropping on you. Surround yourself with powerful people, the best that you can. Mentors, guidees, whatever you want to call them. People that can help you along, and listen to them. And lots of times you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They will help guide you the way. And it kind of is a nice segue into this new role you're playing as ambassador for Stand 21. The founder of Stand 21, Yves Morzeau, he was a guest on my show some time ago, and I'm familiar with their brand. I mean, his whole brand is built around safety keeping drivers safe. That's what started it for him, being at tracks and seeing drivers get injured and not having the right safety equipment. So tell me about this role you're playing as ambassador for Stand 21 and how important that is to you, having come from racing. And I've got a picture that I'm going to put on Larry's show notes page on the Car Show website of I'll say an incident, because I'm not going to call it a little incident that you had that I go, holy cow. Yeah, so let's talk about Stand 21, what it means to you.
Yeah, most people would give that a holy cow. And for me, that's just a bad day at the office.
Okay. Yeah. Very bad day. Yeah. But that scared me, that picture, because I see the front of the car basically gone. And I think immediately of your legs and your feet. And it's like, oh my gosh, that must have been frightening.
It looked worse than it was, to be able to go through something like that and walk away. But it's really all the safety products and everything. Again, having an open mind, and you don't necessarily want to go through incidents like that, but you look towards the safety to take care of you when bad things happen. That's why cars are installed with airbags. You don't use them every day, right, but they're there just in case you need them. So it's the same thing. And there was a on track, and I'm going to back up a little bit before I talk about the ambassador.
Yeah.
There was an incident in our sport where we lost a driver, and the driver's helmet had split, had cracked, and it was a legal helmet, but just because it's legal doesn't mean it's the best or to be able to take care of you. And so our team that I was on at the time, we reached out to Yves because he'd been to the track and wanted to get involved in drag racing, but our drag racing products are really purpose-built it's very sport-specific from that standpoint. What necessarily works in IndyCar or vintage or Formula One does not and will not work in drag racing. The fires that we're involved with are much more volatile. The speeds that we run and the G-forces that we deal with are so much more than, our cars don't go just 200 miles an hour. They go close to 340 miles an hour.
It's insane. Incredible.
So it's different. And we see fires, I'm not going to say often, but we see them. It's not a once in a lifetime thing. That's, I've literally had driving suits burn through layers, and that just kind of I've had the paint melt off of my helmet.
Wait a minute. You just said, that kind of happens. Okay. Yeah. My suit just burns up. That kind of happens.
Yeah. I had the paint melt off my helmet to the point where it ran down the helmet. Wow. Like those are some of the situations that you're in.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're in great products,
it protects you.
You don't panic about it. Yeah. And it's, I probably sound nuts for even saying that. And some people do think I'm nuts, but I'm not. It's like I'm very comfortable in my environment, but I have such belief in the products that I wear and use. So we made a phone call to Yves, showed him everything we got, some of the things that we wanted to improve on. And literally we didn't see him for 6 months. He came to our first test of the following season with everything, the driving suit, the shoes, the gloves, the helmet, everything. He already made the Hans device. They manufactured the Hans device for literally everywhere else in the world but North America, and that's to do with patent rights and such. And now it's opened up to where he sells the Hans device as well for North America. But like literally everything, and everything was perfect right out of the gate, and it fit nice, and it had the numbers as far as the data goes on the safety, just levels above of what we had. The helmets, it's not just a Snell rating, but they have an FIA rating, which is what Formula One uses. And it's really hard to get a helmet to pass for Formula One. Yeah. And Yves helmets do. And so it was really just from there. And so I just became, a really strong voice with, my fellow competitors and stuff. Hey, these products, not only they're nice fitting, but it's a safer product. And it kind of snowballed from there. And so that started in end of 2010. So I've been wearing their products ever since. And then this last year or so, he's had different people working for him, maybe not to the best of their ability and maybe not proper representation of the company. And it was like, we talked at the PRI show about a year and a half ago, and I was like, hey, he was looking for somebody to be able to do the NHRA. And I'm like, I can do this because And he's like, really? You want to do that? And I'm like, yeah, because it's like, I believe in it. It's like, I want my friends, like, I want to see my friends at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how to say it other than that. And it's like, I believe in the product, and it's not like I'm selling snake oil. This is like, this stuff works. Not only does it work, I've tested it all. I think it worked really well. And if you can't tell, I'm very passionate.
Yeah, just a little bit
about it. And it's really maybe hard to convey. When I drive a car, I don't drive scared. I drive confident, but I want all my products to be able to do the job for me. No different than an engine or, the clutch or the tires or the crew,
right.
Crew chief. If everybody performs at that, and to be able to be the best and continue to be the best, you have to surround yourself with the talent and the best equipment. And I feel that's the way I feel about Stand 21s. So for me, really, it was a no-brainer. We probably would have started it at the beginning of last year, but the pandemic hit, so we kind of put things on hold until towards the end of the year. So I went to the Vegas race with the Stand guys and just kind of walking around and letting them know that their products are available and we can make them more comfortable and safer while they're racing.
Absolutely. For you listeners that missed my talk, it was back in 2015 that Yves was on the show. He was guest number 369. Larry's guest 1749. So it was a few guests ago, but you can go back and listen to my talk with him and hear the passion in this man's voice and why he sincerely started this business. And you should go back and listen to him. It was a great show. You can find him very easily on the Cars Yeah website. Just click on the guest button and type his name in, YVES, Yves Marizot, Marizot, and you'll find him on the Cars Yeah website. Go back and listen to my talk with him because he's an absolutely fantastic person who really does care about what he does. And gosh, he's been doing this for a long, long time. Larry, I always ask my guests about a huge challenge. Now, you entered a career in racing. Oh my gosh. Talk about a challenge that happens every weekend. But I want you to take us on a path here of one big one that really comes to mind, one that really tested you. And the reason I ask this is more about how you came out positive on the other end, what you learned from that. So take us on a little journey, maybe a little longer than a 3-second run down a track.
Gosh, it seems like there's always a new challenge. It's life is full of challenges. I think not just maybe on track, but off track as well. And when you talk about that, and ask me that, it makes me go to cancer. I in 2014 I got diagnosed with throat cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah, holy cow. Yeah.
It changes your perspective on what, competition is and battling is and such. It's but using that same mindset, being able to surround yourself with the best people, making sure that you're with the right group to be able to take care of you and to go in there. And that was probably one of my bigger challenges and one of my bigger wins. Because I went through chemo and radiation, and that was through the winter of 2014, and came out of it 2015. A few months before that crash that you put up on the screen there. So again, it's that life can throw you all kinds of things to put everything in perspective. So. But the battle itself, I'm just obviously very blessed. It definitely changes your perspective on life.
Yep.
So I just kind of forging ahead, and I guess once I went through it, I got back to the other problems that everybody else has in life. I mean, it's kind of you move forward with that, and it's like right now, my wife is battling breast cancer. So,
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, wow.
So we've been down this road. Our kids have been down this road. So and they understand the battle and some of life's challenges. But you don't quit. You don't say defeat. You fight and you win.
Well, my mom, I'll give you this positive thought, is a 25-plus year survivor of breast cancer. And remember going through that. And that was 25 years ago when things were not as progressive and as far along as they are today with medicine, of course, and everything. Let me ask you this. What's I know there's a lot that goes on around this when you're fighting something like cancer, but for people that might be just experiencing this journey right now, or with COVID or something that's life-threatening, what's one piece of thought and wisdom you can provide them that gives them some, I won't say a fighting chance because it doesn't sound so good, but will give them some opportunity to rethink the position they're in versus a woe is me. You said the word fight. You go into these things fighting, just like going into the race. I'm going to win this. You have a mindset. You are going to win this weekend in the case of health issues. So what's one thing you could share that might help somebody going through this?
The number one thing that I think is don't look too far out front. Don't look too far to the left or the right. Just if you need to make it daily victories, then make them daily victories. You know, if it needs to be, I need to just get through this week or this month. And that's how I used to tackle racing and trying to win championships. It's you literally take care of the run in front of you and do the best you can to your ability on that given run. Mm-hmm. And that's in qualifying. And you got 4 qualifying runs and you stack those up. Then you just look at first round. Don't look at second round, and right. Then when you get to, you just keep them small victories. And then you do that through the entire year. If you've done a great job, then it takes care of itself. But you can't win a championship on the first day. You might lose one the first day, but you can't win one. So you just make them small victories. And that's what I did with even my chemo treatments and stuff. I had 33 of them, and it's like, oh my gosh, it goes on for, a month and a half. And it's like, okay, just one day, just today. That's all we're going to
just get through this day. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And then all of a sudden it's behind us. So
wow.
That's how I would look at things.
Powerful advice you just shared there, Larry, and all of our thoughts and prayers to your wife right now, this fight that she's experiencing as well. We're all wishing you and your family and her especially great success on beating this. Let's take a short break. We'll catch our breath a little bit here. And I want to come back in a moment after our sponsors here and talk about this passion that you have for racing and cars. So sit tight, everybody. I think some good thoughts for Larry's wife right now, and we'll be right back. Did you know that less than 3% of all automotive technicians in the United States are women? You may not be surprised, but you should be concerned because our country is facing a massive technician shortage right now. Skilled, qualified techs are in high demand, and we need young women and men to consider these careers as a viable path to a fulfilling life. I've interviewed hundreds of women in the automotive sector here on Cars Yeah, and I know that women make great techs. That's why I support the nonprofit TechForce Foundation and its Women Techs Rock initiative to ensure women see themselves in the profession, the industry, and the workforce. Learn more at techforce.org today. All right, we're back. I'd love for you to share a story, that pivotal moment in your life when you knew that you were going to be a drag racer. Was there one defining moment, or was it a buildup of this whole life engulfed in racing?
I think for me, I always, dreamt of driving. Ever since I was a little kid, I really didn't know how I was going to do that. My parents weren't really in the position to just hand the keys to me and I could go drive the family top fuel car or for the family business or any of that. So it's one of those things you need to figure it out. And I didn't have this grand plan at the time. And if I couldn't drive a car, the next best thing was working on one and being on a team. For me, that stuck with me for a long period of time. I tried to stay focused on that and see kind of where the path took me. I got some really good advice from Roland Leong of the Hawaiian fame, about trying to work my way into the pros, because it's like if you haven't driven anything, who's going to give you a shot? And it was really at that time you saw a few people coming up through the alcohol ranks and then working their way up into top fuel. Yeah. All the Petrogron brothers would be a good example. Pat Austin would be another one at the time. Blaine Johnson and such. So, but he gave me a little bit of guidance on that, and I got hooked up and went and drove an alcohol car and did that, and didn't do anything dumb in the car. But when I really felt that I made it, ended up going back to work at Snakes, and then we got the sponsorship. But it was like when I saw my name on his car, at that first race at the Winter Nationals of Pomona in 1995, that was my first race going pro. it was like, wow, that like, I'm never in a position to say, hey, look at me or anything like that. But it was like, wow, like I made it, you know, that like you give yourself about 10 seconds to say that. And that was it. Just getting that opportunity to drive on the pro ranks.
Brilliant. Now you've driven a lot of very special race cars in your life. Is there one that really stands out for you?
I have 3 cars in my race shop right now. I've got a regular Top Fuel car that I'm not on the NHRA tour currently, but I'll go and do like exhibition races or match races and stuff. A lot of that stuff will go on in the Midwest at some of these tracks. I also have a 2-seat Top Fuel car, where I can actually give people rides down the racetrack in a Top Fuel car. So that and then I also have my car that I've had since just out of high school. It's a 66 Chevy 2, and it's got an LT4 crate engine, Corvette motor in it. And that runs 9 seconds in the quarter mile and 22 miles to the gallon. I go on drag week with it, and I could drive it from here to the West Coast and back. And it would actually get better mileage than my pickup truck that I drive around.
Now, you said that's a 66 Chevy 2, basically the Nova, right?
Yeah.
I had
Chevy 2 Nova.
My first car was a 67 Chevy 2. Yeah.
I love those. And that was a kid growing up at the racetrack watching Bill Jenkins with a small block in the same class as the Hemi cars and beating the Hemi cars. And that's kind of where it taught me about weight per cubic inch and such, and that you can have a real light car and it can go real fast. And so, but each one of these cars, I could get in each one and have a ball driving it. Actually, really excited about driving it. Different reasons. Yeah. But it's still exciting and it's still going down the racetrack. The regular Top Fuel car goes, 330 miles an hour and I still run quarter mile with it, and it'll run 4.5 seconds in the quarter mile.
Jeez.
I've got this 2-seat Top Fuel car, and we'll give people rides only to the 8th mile, but it'll go 0 to 250, 260 mile an hour in just over 3 seconds. And I can give people that ride and sharing that with those people and their excitement and to be able to do it. That's exciting. Then I got my little Chevy 2 that, again, I've had since almost high school, and I could sit in the staging lanes, and turn on the radio and just wait my turn, and then take that car and go down the racetrack with it and
have some fun.
And it's a ball. All 3 cars are very different cars, but all still bring a great satisfaction going down the racetrack.
No kidding. Plus, with that 2-seater, you get to share the experience, which is what it's all about. I'll bet nobody's asked you this question, Larry. If you woke up tomorrow and you were manifest as a vehicle, this isn't what you want to be. This is all your personal attributes, your history, your life, wrapped up into what Larry would be as a vehicle. What would you be, and more importantly, why?
Boy, that's a good question. Great question.
First time ever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What I'd want to be would be like a 49 Merc, all chopped and channeled and lowered and all of that. And, but probably
this isn't what you want to be. This is your personality, who you are.
I would probably be a Corvette right off the showroom floor, but not a red Corvette or some bright colored one. It would probably be white, just speak as softly as you can, but still you got all the muscle under the hood to take care of business.
There you go. You answered that well. Yeah, I like it. All right. We're up to what I typically call the last lap. In your case, the last pass, since you're not doing laps in those dragsters. These are some quick questions, which will require some very quick blips of that throttle answer. So here we go. What's one of your personal habits, Larry, that you believe contributed to your successes in racing?
You're always thinking about the future. You're always thinking about what's next. Just, when you tackle something and you've done something with that, it's great. But what's next?
What's next? If you could have a drink or a meal with anyone in the automotive or racing industry, living or someone who's passed, who would it be?
Oh boy. I got to do this before and it was, I had a ball and I would like to do it again. At some point. It would have been Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I had his daughter on my show, who of course runs junior racing, that team. A wonderful interview with her, but yeah, Dale Earnhardt, that would be awesome. Now, when it comes to automotive advice or racing advice, what's the best advice someone offered you that worked really well?
I would say it came from Roland Leong, and it was just about just trying to do the things to figure it out. No one's going to, at least in my case or in most people's cases, nobody just shows you the golden path. And it's like there's a lot of things you need to figure it out. And if you want it bad enough, you absolutely will figure it out.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to resources, we have so many these days. Is there a go-to for you? This could be a website, a supplier, an app you use, even a person in your life. I'm going to start it by saying Stand 21, of course.
Yeah, well, Stand 21 makes it so that when I come home from work, that my wife and kids still recognize me.
Now there's a quote. Holy cow, they should be using that on their advertising. Yeah, there you go, Eves. There's one for you. We'll just leave that right there. I think that's the best one I've heard all week. Now, is there a book that you've read that you think our listeners would really learn a lot from and enjoy?
Two books come to mind, and I don't know that I think both of them are extremely important in my life. Mm-hmm. One was How to Win Friends and Influence People with Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
It was written almost 100 years ago, but it still applies. I mean, it's been rewritten and tried to be updated and all that, but it all still applies, everything in it. It's in business and being able to be successful. That's a great one. And the other one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah. Kawasaki. Yeah. Great book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Read that a long time ago, and it's a good catch-up book to bring back or share with your kids as they get older.
I just recently shared that with my youngest, and it's neat to see the light bulb go on.
Oh, yeah.
With that. So those are, that's not racing books but it's probably more life lesson type stuff.
Two great standby books. They're books that I go back to every year and pick up and reread, take parts out of, make notes and so forth. And they're books that I've shared with my kids when they went off to college and graduated and went off to life. So absolutely great books to list. All right, we are up to the checkered flag here. In your case, the end of the drag strip. I'm going to buy you a very cool collector car today, Larry. Something really fun to put in your garage. As my listeners know, there's a couple rules to this game. Since in this case, I'm the sponsor, I'm writing the check. You have to abide by my rules. One is you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other toys with or fund your kids' college education. I want you to drive it and enjoy it. Now, this could be something for the track or the street. Doesn't matter, but I want you to enjoy it. Not a garage queen, not a dust collector. Here's the hard part, though. It's the only one cool collector vehicle you can have, so you need to choose very wisely. What am I buying Larry Dixon today?
I'm going to go with I brought that up a little bit earlier, the 49 Merc.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, will this be a car that is restored to originality or kind of a custom resto mod?
Oh, it would definitely be the whole SoCal custom, chopped, lowered, all that. I'd want a 4-door. Suicide doors because it's because I'm a family man now. You gotta think of the kids as well. But I want a late model power plant in it. I'd like the drivetrain out of a Dodge Hellcat in it as well. So it's gonna get great mileage, but it's still gonna haul the mail and it's gonna look the part too.
Yeah, I tell you, there's been some incredible restorations done by very famous people, those cars. Most of them are the 2-door models, though, but the 4-door would be kind of cool. There's one, I think it's by Larry Customs, called the Voodoo. It was kind of a blue-green color. Really, really crazy looking ride. Maybe that's one I could deliver to your doorstep. If you don't mind blue, it's kind of an aqua blue color.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Why not, Mark? Bring it on over. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you. So your list is 1,749
Larry,
cars.
I am so broke from buying so many people cars that when that big lottery came out a few weeks ago, I thought, wouldn't this be cool? I could actually buy everybody the cars they want. Like most of the time when I waste $2 on a lottery ticket, my son says the lottery is a tax Matchbox on the stupid. I think he's the smartest one in the room. Yeah, I didn't quite win. I think I won $6. So that might be a little Matchbox.
You haven't won yet.
There you go. I knew you would turn that into a positive. That's why I wanted to have you on the show today. Larry, you have taken me on an absolutely spectacular, very fast ride today. What a wonderful mindset you have. I want to thank you for sharing this incredible journey in your life with us today. Before I let you go, could you offer us one little parting piece, as if you haven't already, piece of wisdom and guidance before you drive off into the sunset with the whole family in that 49 Merc?
I touched on it before, because I'll get young people coming up in whether they want to be in racing or whatever, how do you become successful and, this and that. I don't have all the answers. The one piece of advice that I can offer is if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. You'll absolutely find the way to do it. Some people have money and some people can bring sponsors and some people are born into it and then some people don't have any of it, but they have that desire. And as long as you have that desire and that drive, you'll absolutely get everything you want out of life.
Well, and you've dropped so many golden nuggets on us today that are ways to do just that. So I appreciate that. What's the best way for people to follow along with you these days?
The best place is, the old standby is Facebook. I post, what's going on with me there, and that would be Larry Dixon Racing on Facebook. Instagram, Dixon Top Fuel, and Twitter as well, Dixon Top Fuel. All right. That's it.
I'll make sure I put links to those on Larry's show notes page. He also has a website, LarryDixon.com. You should go and check that out. And of course, we'd be remiss here. The other thing you need to check out if you're involved in racing, you do any kind of racing, is Stand 21. I want to do a shout out to Yves and to Florian Lenore, who set up this interview with Larry. Thank you guys. Stand 21. Boy, if you want to be safe in what you're doing, these are the guys to talk with. Listeners, you can find everything Larry has shared today on his Cars Yeah show notes page. Just go to carsyeah.com, type in Larry Dixon, and his page will pop right up. Larry, hey, thank you for being so generous today with your time and your expertise and for sharing your experiences with our listeners. I love all our listeners today. If you're into prayer, a little prayer for Larry's wife. If you're not, some good thoughts for Larry's wife as she goes through this battle in her life. Larry, until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Did you know that Cars Yeah is in the top 1% of all podcasts based on listenership, according to Libsyn, the premier RSS feed for podcasts in the United States? That's right. And Cars Yeah is the only 5-day-a-week automotive-focused podcast for you to get your message into the ears of thousands of listeners daily from all over the world. Plus, DuPont Registry recommended Cars Yeah is one of their top 10 car podcasts for you to enjoy. Cars Yeah has experienced tremendous growth, plus your ads are evergreen, meaning they never go away. And more listeners find Cars Yeah every day for their daily dose of automotive inspiration. Do you want to expose your brand to a highly targeted list of automotive enthusiasts in a very unique and very personal way? Well, I can help you. Contact me, Mark Green, at mark@carsyeah.com or through the website at carsyeah.com today to learn more.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.